Good evening, everyone. Wherever you are, I'm sitting here in my tropical greenhouse. It's a geodesic dome. I'm about to post this video that you're about to watch of me tasting some apples, running around my orchard, tasting some kiwis, and telling you about my Paulownia trees. So stay tuned. This is my Paulownia tree. These are the fastest growing trees in the world. And this is starting to go dormant. I can take some leaves off. But basically all this growth here, I'll insert a clip of me standing in front of it from further back. But this is about, I don't know, 10 to 12 feet tall. It's about 2 inches in diameter already. And it was planted, basically it was only 1 foot tall, thinner than my pinky. All this growth occurred in one season. I planted it in June. It's now October. And this is how big this Paulownia got. A couple different uses for this tree. You can harvest the wood. It grows really fast, so you can get good quality wood. That's about, 1 foot, foot and a half in diameter in like 12 years. So it depends on which climate they're growing in also. The other benefits are it has really nice blooms in the spring, and bees collect a lot of nectar and pollen from these flowers. These leaves are nutritious to feed to your animals, goats, cows. They like to eat them. So yeah, definitely a good treat. You have another one here. This one's not going dormant yet, but here's my arm. You see how big these leaves are. This one's not as tall. The other one had really big leaves also, but that's how big these leaves are. About a foot and a half wide. This is Crimson Crisp, Wine Crisp, and Honey Crisp grafted to the same tree. Honey Crisp is falling. Honey Crisp is a nice apple overall, but this is the issue with it in our climate. And that issue kind of persists all the way throughout the flesh on the inside. Which means it goes bad really fast. It doesn't keep when you get this defect. You can probably spray for it, but видео заснимаю. Видео заснимаю, да. Те дерево. This is the Arkansas black apple. It's not as dark right now, but they'll continue to hang. I'm not gonna taste that one yet because it's probably not ripe yet. But this one here is Wine Crisp. Wine Crisp is a pretty nice apple. This one has a little damage on it, but they're supposed to be super resistant and they're supposed to keep for a long time. Oh yeah, I can definitely taste the vinous, kind of a winey flavor. Delicious. Last year they weren't as good. This year they're really good. It has the perfect balance of sugar and acid. It's crunchy, and these are supposed to keep for a very long time. Say this is an apple worth growing. It doesn't get very many defects or wormholes. Can be grown with no sprays. Well, there's a defect right there. But most of the apples are in good shape. Some more up here. So yeah, definitely worth growing. Wine crisp. I just want to finish this apple, but we have more to taste. There's more. These two here are Enterprise. I'm gonna take this one because it has some damage. Enterprise are supposed to be resistant apples as well. Over here, I think it was just a bug bite or bird damage. Hopefully this other one can hang a little longer, just so I can see if it'll ripen further. I'm not sure if these are ripe yet. Enterprise. So taking a bite out of this right after the wine crisp, I can tell this has less sugar. And therefore it tastes a little bit more sour, but I don't think it has more acid. It's just the fact that I think it has less sugar. The flesh is not as dense as wine crisp. It's not as crunchy, although it is crunchy, but wine crisp is just, fully crisp, whereas this gives you a crunch when you bite into it, but the flesh is not fully crunchy and crispy like a honey crisp or the wine crisp. But very complex flavor too. A really good eating apple, and I think these keep for a while as well. So definitely recommend Enterprise and wine crisp so far. Worth growing for sure. I have some hardy kiwi here, and this female is on her own. The males aren't blooming yet, but still produces kiwi. This is Actinidia arguta. Not a whole lot of kiwi because of the lack of pollen, but it still is self-pollinating to some extent. Looks just like a kiwi inside, except it's not as sour. Really sweet, juicy, and aromatic. I say more flavorful than the fuzzy kiwi, but it also Has to do with preference. I prefer this one over the big fuzzy ones. You don't have to peel these either. You can just eat it as is. Super sweet, fragrant. You just have to feel them. That one's not soft yet. And some of them get pretty big, actually. Here's a good one. It's about the size of my thumb. This one's really sweet. Yum, yum. I could eat these every day, but we just have so little of them because they all kind of just fall off after they get pollinated, because I guess it's not fully self-fertile. I need the males to start blooming faster. But man, this is a delicacy. Don't have to peel them, nothing. Let's see if I can find a couple more to snack on. So when they get wrinkly like this, that's when they're really good. Find a couple good ones right here. Really good. Delicious. And these things can take up to like minus 22 to 25 degrees Celsius. It's a really hardy vine. Which most people don't know can be grown in cold climates. And I say this is tastier than the fuzzy one. Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. If you don't have a Actinidia arguta, just make sure you plant male and female. About one male to every 8 females, depending on how you space them out. But you need at least one male. Here's King David. I'm gonna check to see if this is ripe yet. I don't know when to pick these in my climate, but I guess I'll give it a shot. Now the only downside to these are similar to the Jonathan. It gets these dents. I'm not sure what that issue is. Oh, and this one has some bug damage. It's a dark red apple. Oh yeah, they're ripe. Probably time to pull them off the tree. And notice it even has some red pigment that seeps into the flesh. A really rich flavor, similar to Jonathan. But I think this one's even more intense. It's one of those apples that's packed with basically everything. Sugar, acid, flavor. It's just really, really potent. Just a mouthful of flavor in every bite, and it's good. It's a really good apple. I bet some people will really love this one. The only downside is this issue here with the apple. It seems like it kind of goes into the flesh a little bit, so that means it won't keep for a long time. But definitely a very potent and intense apple. Sometimes I don't want something this intense. Sometimes I want an apple that's a little more polite. But this is really, really sweet and sour and flavorful at the same time. I'd say kind of similar in taste to Burgundy, which I described as kind of like a sour Jolly Rancher flavor. I kind of taste that in this one as well. It's October 7th. If I forget to mention the date and you guys want to know, I normally post the videos the same day as I take them, so you can look at the posting date and see what time I'm taking the video. Just for reference, some people want to know when the apple is ripe, what time I'm tasting it. I'm in Northwest Washington. King David is ripe October 7th. I have Baldwin over here, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the flavor of Baldwin. Just doesn't have much flavor. Nice apple. It's a triploid variety, which means that this tree has 3 sets of chromosomes. That means it doesn't have fertile pollen. So if you do plant one of these and you plant another apple tree, you'll need a third apple tree to pollinate your second apple tree, because this one will not pollinate your second one. So be careful with triploid varieties. I think King David is one of those as well, if I'm not mistaken. Let's try a Johnagold. I still have Liberty hanging. Liberty's still hanging. It tastes even better now than it did then. It's still crunchy. Lots of flavor. If somebody wants to just grow, a few disease-resistant varieties, I would definitely choose Liberty to be one of them, because it gets very few disease issues and is just such a good tasting apple. Crispy, flavorful, perfect balance, perfect dessert apple. You can't go wrong with this one. And Spartan. Let me reach one of these Johnagolds. Johnagold can get pretty big also. Johnagold. Johnagold does much better than Honeycrisp here. Still gets bug bites or bird pecks, whatever that is, but also a really good flavor. Let's try it today. Oh, it's dripping. So juicy, it's dripping. Oh, so many apples today. This is probably the best substitute for Honeycrisp. It's very similar, I think. I mean, it does have its own flavor, slightly different than Honeycrisp. And the flesh kind of breaks in a different way. The grains aren't as large as the Honeycrisp, but it's really sweet, and it doesn't have a whole lot of acid, but just enough acid to balance the flavor out. A really good quality apple. I recommend this one as well. Oh, the other one that I wanted to taste today let's get this. Oh no. I guess this one's probably not the best to taste. For some reason, Redlove odysso on this tree over here isn't as resistant as this one. Oh, I guess I have to climb the tree to get to it. Look at these Johnagolds just hanging here. Johnagold. Climb up here. Oh, I still have Kids Orange Red hanging. Totally didn't know I still had some. Let's try this. Is decent, but right after the Johnagold, it just seems kind of bland. These ones here, the light colored ones, are pitmaster pineapple. They've been falling off the tree, and I tasted them, and I wasn't a big fan. So I don't know if they're just not ripe, or if you have to let them hang longer. Pitmaster pineapple. It does have a pineapple taste. Kind of sour. The skin is kind of crunchy, but the flesh itself isn't. Kind of an interesting apple, but for some reason I'm not a big fan. This is what I was trying to get to. Oh. Should I climb down or should I just enjoy this up on my tree? This is Redlove odysso. Now this is kind of what it's supposed to look like. I don't know what the issue was with the other one. I mean, it does have some dots on it, but let's try. It is kind of sour, but the flavor is so intense. I just taste berries, apples, sweetness, sourness. It's kind of like making a lemonade with strawberries and raspberries added to it. Kind of a acidic acid, acidic apple, acidic acid. Well, acid is kind of acidic, but yeah, this apple is definitely more acidic than most. But if you like sour apples, you're gonna be astonished by the flavor. It's just something you have to try. It's hard to describe everything. Definitely worth growing. It's larger than the Redlove era. Redlove odysso. And I've had so many apples already that I'm basically full. So I'll see you guys next time.